Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. It's 10:57 on a Wednesday morning. Hope everyone's doing good. So yeah, I been cranking out some more videos. It's been a blast. I've been changing up things a little bit. I've been, uploading new videos and new shows. I've been setting them up as premieres. So I got a show coming up on a movie that I saw Sunday, and it was an incredible experience. It was almost more of an experience than say a movie per se, and the movie is called The Substance with starring Demi Moore. It just came out last weekend. I saw it on Sunday, so the show will be premiering pretty soon here on YouTube on this channel. So check that out. I really had some things to say about this movie. It was just wow. That's the only way I can describe it. So, and lately I've been, again, like I've said before, I've been watching. Well, I'm always watching movies. I watch a movie usually every night or two, and I've been going and I've been buying more movies than I normally do, and I've been doing all kinds of shows on movies, and I've been taking lots of chances where I've been seeing a lot of movies and buying movies that I have never seen before. But today is a little bit of a different thing. I got this movie as a birthday present from my parents, and it was a total surprise. And I had only seen this movie once, and I watched it again the other night, and I had the same experience again with this film. I have to say I think I enjoyed it even more this time. It's one of those things that it stays with you. I really I'm a firm believer in in trying to, like, I mean, when you have an experience, when it's in regards to art, you might have this like really immediate feeling of where it really is this kind of moving or emotional experience or visceral experience, but it resonates with you right away. Whether it's a band you see or an album that you see, or you see a painting at an art gallery, or you you see a theater show, or in this case a movie, and usually your gut, like your gut instinct really is that true kind of telltale sign of how you feel about it, what that experience was like. And of course that, like, that that whole thing can change or shift. There's been times where I've seen or experienced something for the first time, and I might not feel like I necessarily enjoyed it, or that I could get into it, or whatnot. But then maybe some time goes by and I realize, wow, like that was something else, and then you want to relive that experience, and then maybe in this case, for like in terms of movies, you'll revisit that movie and you'll be like, and you will like have that experience of like, wow, this is something. So you do have those you do have those exceptions, or you see something, in this case again movies, and you're like, yeah, that was good, or that was a good experience. And then maybe a few days go by, and it kind of totally dissipates, and you're like, you forget what you experienced, and it doesn't resonate with you, and it ends up not being a very good experience. So that does happen. That does happen where you have you have those experiences. For instance, like two examples for me in regards to movies. I I remember the first time that I saw. Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan. How can you not be? And the first time I saw his remake or his rendition, I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it that much, and it like there were things about it that I liked, but I've seen it probably 4 or 5 other times since then, and initially I was like I didn't know what to think of it. I don't know. I just had this funny reaction to it. Couldn't really get into it. I liked parts of it, and then when I it grew on me, and now I think that that movie is incredible. So sometimes you have that experience. You know, sometimes that happens. An experience, an example of where that is kind of the opposite. There are there is this franchise, the Terrifier series, and very popular kind of indie gore fest movies that are out. There's a third one coming out, and Art the Clown. I had heard so much hype about these movies. The I saw the first one right as the sequel had come out, and I still haven't seen the sequel. And the third one I think is coming out to theaters very soon. But I had heard so many things about this movie, saying it was just incredible and just like pure grindhouse and just all this stuff. And I was like, yep, that's totally my wheelhouse. That's the thing I love the most. So I should totally love this movie. And then I finally sat down and watched Terrifier, and initially it was like, yeah, I'm digging it. I'm liking this. It was incredibly violent and brutal and just like insane as far as that aspect of it, like the primal nature of it. I liked Art the Clown, and initially I was like, yeah, this is good. I was into it, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of worth the hype. And it was a weird experience because like 2 or 3 days later or a day after, I kind of forgot everything that I experienced, and I kind of thought of it as like almost like if you go to a summer fair and you eat like a bunch of cotton candy and kind of crappy food, and then the next day you just kind of like forget about it, and nothing is like you're not craving that food again, and you just like you almost kind of feel bad that you enjoyed such crap the next day or the subsequent days after. And that's kind of how I felt, where I was like, that movie, yeah, it's very violent, it's super brutal, it's gory as all hell. But other than that, I didn't really care about anything. And it was like really shallow and empty, the movie as a whole. So those are like two examples of those things happening. But today's show is going to be, and I'm pretty sure I reviewed this movie when it came out, because I saw it when it came out on DVD a few years back, and but I just got this as a present on Blu-ray, and it's an incredible movie, and that is Nicolas Cage's Pig. I wish more people talked about this movie. I wish more people knew about this movie. This is I really think that this movie is kind of a masterpiece. It's a very quiet, meditative movie. Very hard to describe. I was talking to someone about this movie a couple weeks ago, and I think they had heard about Pig, but they had not seen it. It came out in 2021, a few years back. I was trying to describe this movie to somebody, and it was kind of impossible in some ways. It was kind of a strange phenomenon. I saw this when it came out. It didn't get it, well. It came out during COVID, so I didn't get to see it in the theater. I did see it. I saw it on DVD when it came out, about maybe 6 months or so after it was released. It was written and directed by Michael Samoska, who, again, I had never heard of before. Definitely have never seen any of his other work. The cast is incredible. You got Nicolas Cage, of course, the iconic Nicolas Cage. Alex Wolff, who's incredible. He was the son in Ari Aster's Hereditary. Adam Arkin is he's a pretty popular, pretty prolific character actor. He's really great in this. David Nell, Cassandra Violet, and Neela Beforte. And again, like I said before, I was talking to, and it's come up a few times, but I was talking to somebody about Pig a few weeks ago. Uh, Actually, no, it was over the weekend. I was talking to my friend Aaron about, we were talking about Nicolas Cage and the Wicker Man remake, and we were talking about Nicolas Cage films. And, and I love Nicolas Cage. He's one of those actors I feel like he's been in some kind of crappy movies, but he's so damn good in it that the movie is still watchable. He's one of those actors, and he's been on a tear lately. I mean, he's been so prolific. It's just crazy. And I had said to Erin, have you seen Pig? And she said she hadn't seen it, and I can't remember. I think she said she hadn't even heard of it. And I went to describe it to her, and I found myself not really being able to describe it because it I don't know, it's like it's such an unusual movie, and it has elements of different things. It's got elements of kind of a revenge movie, even though it's not a revenge movie. It has fat like aspects of it. It's definitely a drama or melodrama. It's pretty dark. Um, it's a very quiet movie. It's a very like meditative film. It's got some good humor in it as well. And the other thing that's interesting about this movie is that it gives you a view of kind of a subculture that I don't really know anything about, which I thought was interesting. It was an interesting subject matter to explore. I get attracted to that by watching certain films of where it could be about a particular subject or someone who works in a particular field, or is an expert in a particular field that I have no clue about. So that can be an interesting, thing to see on the big screen, like some new, uncharted territory. This and Pig really does that. The the cinematography for this film, again, I saw it on DVD, and again, it's always a thing of why you can't go wrong. It's always the best experience, other than probably see it in the theater. But there have been experiences of where I've enjoyed movies more watching them at home on Blu-ray or 4K. This movie is amazing on Blu-ray. It's so beautiful. It just pops. Really great, really beautiful edition of this incredible film. I think this is the most underrated film that's come out in recent time. Again, getting back to Nicolas Cage, like I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan. The first movie I ever saw with Nicolas Cage was Wild at Heart. It was also the first film that introduced me to Laura Dern and David Lynch. That was the first David Lynch movie I ever saw as a kid, and it was also the first Nicolas Cage movie. And since then, Nicolas Cage has done, thousands of movies. I mean, just everything. Everything from like a film like Con Air, which is an awesome movie, to like Leaving Las Vegas. And even the insane Bad Lieutenant remake by Werner Herzog, which is completely fucking nuts, but a great movie. But I'd have to say my favorite film of his of all time is Mandy. Amazing, amazing movie. It's a crime I don't own that on Blu-ray. I do need to get that. That's my all-time favorite Nicolas Cage movie. And I kind of feel that Pig is right up there with it, with that movie, with Mandy. It's and the thing that's so cool about this movie is you get this thing that people always kind of trash Nicolas Cage or say where he just kind of plays the same kind of unhinged crazy person in each movie. And yeah, he does have that aspect in a lot of his movies, and that's kind of what I love about him. But if you watch this movie, you see such an incredibly different side to his talent and his genius that it's you don't even recognize him because he's so restrained, but yet his delivery with the dialogue is just so incredible. And so like this movie is such an interesting movie to talk about because it's very meditative. It's almost like a meditative ritual in a way. Um, but it's got a lot of heart. It's um, it's a really unusual movie. It's kind of a strange film, or it is a strange film. It has a little bit of an art house kind of quality to it. It feels kind of like a European movie. And I like that it initially you feel like this movie is going to be kind of a revenge movie or a revenge thriller. And it has aspects of that, but then it goes into really unexpected ways of kind of resolving the conflict. Like where you're like, "What?" And I like that it messes with your expectations. It takes the certain genre tropes and bends them quite severely, which I thought was really cool and really um, fresh, which does not really happen these days very often. And the score, the music for this film is just incredible. The end sequence, the ending of this movie, I just feel is such an emotional experience. It's awesome. Like it's a good payoff, but it's like really quiet and really heavy in a lot of ways. And I again, it's a very quiet movie. It's not. It's even slow. I would say that this movie is kind of a slow burn. It's actually very slow, but it's got moments and sequences in it that are just really captivating. And some of the writing is just so awesome. And again, it's not predictable. It goes into some really interesting and very unique kind of territories. It I can't help but I can't stop really thinking about it too. When I watch this movie, I'm always thinking I've been thinking about it since, and I kind of want to watch it again because it's got that resonance. And it's a quiet movie, and it so it kind of like the scope of it kind of sneaks up on you. It's really interesting, and I think this movie might not be for everyone, but again, I think there is enough heart in this movie that I think that it could really convert people that to the idea that this is just a such a well crafted movie. I think it has enough of that subtle power that it can really inflate that opinion, if that makes sense. Um, again, I wish this movie was talked about more. Just an incredible film, easily one of the greatest performances by Nicolas Cage, and he plays such a unique character. I love this movie. I am really excited about watching this again. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.